Hi, this is Chris Morton, and this is the third episode on the Electric Fitness podcast. So, this podcast is about being fit at 40, or really how to be fit at any age. This podcast, I'm sharing my tips of being, fit in your 40s, but it's actually going to be good advice how to be fit at any age, really. So, when you get to my age, there's probably a lot of things going on in your life. You're going to have, in your 30s, late 30s to 40s and beyond, you're going to have family stuff going on. You're going to be have probably work stuff going on. You might have a few assets behind you, a lot of different things going on. And being fit actually helps you really, manage and get through all these different things that might be happening in your life. And the biggest thing you need to know is why, like if you have the desire to get fit, you really need to establish why is it that you want to get fit. So what is your why? So for me, I need to be in shape for my young family, being a single dad. I have two young kids, a 4-year-old and a 7-month-old, and I'm 42 now, and they're still quite young, so they're going to be in my life until they're 17. So I've got another 12 years, for one of them, another 17 years ahead of me, where I need to be, fit, active, and healthy, so they can do all the things that they want to do. I want to be able to do a lot of activities as my kids grow. I want to teach them a lot of sport activities. I really enjoyed sports as a kid, and I want to, show them how to play sports and watch them grow and hopefully have an interest in sports or anything they want to do. Plus, I still have my own interests. I still like to do CrossFit comps. I use CrossFit as a training methodology, but I also have an interest in CrossFit as a sport as well. I actually find when you get to my age, you stop playing a lot of sport activities that you did in your teenage years and your 20s. And, I stopped playing rugby in my mid-30s. And when I found CrossFit more for training, there was also an aspect where you can do it as a sport. So I actually really enjoy competing on that level in master categories. Plus, I don't want to feel like I'm restricted physically or even mentally by not being able to do any of those things because I'm restricted in movement. Imagine if you're just so out of shape that you feel like you had to sit on the sideline while your kids run around and you can't even kick a soccer ball to them, or you're in pain if you go to get something off the ground or put something overhead. I want to better still be doing that into my 50s and 60s. So you really have to establish a why. I chose functional fitness as my way of getting stronger and fitter. But you could choose pretty much a number of different things. You can go into a gym and just get stronger, more like for bodybuilding type things, just to grow your muscles to look really big. I like to do that as well, but I also like to have some function around my body as well. Actually get the body stronger, get my ligaments, tissues, everything working really well, and just moving really well, just to be able to do a lot of things in my life. So my question to you today is, what is your why? And is your why big enough for you to move forward for your fitness aspirations or goals? If the pain of getting in shape is not greater than the pain of staying where you are, in terms of not achieving your fitness goals, then you're just going to stay stuck and stagnant, and you're not going to move forward. So you need to really build up your why, really look deep within yourself, and when there's days where you think you can't do it, or why are you doing it, that's your why. So you really need to establish your why if you really want to get serious about getting back into shape or just being the best version of yourself. So So with this, I've come up with 6 tips that are pretty easy to follow, and a good sort of guide how to first get on track and stay on track with being fit in your 40s. So the first thing is to start small with good habits. So instead of jumping into a really high intensity training or lifting really heavy weights, or just feeling like you've got to be at this extremely fit level to start, you're going to be off to a bad start. So start with small things, small habits. So that might be having a goal of maybe training twice a week for the first month when you get back into it. If you're training on your own, maybe it's just you start with a really simple routine of go for a 400-meter run. At the end of that run, do 10 push-ups or 10 push-ups from your knee. Do 10 lunges. Do 5 sit-ups, and then on later in that week, just increase the reps slightly more in the same movements. And then the next week again, increase the reps slightly more again. Just do really simple things, simple challenges that are really achievable, and just add a few more reps each time. And that will start to build your confidence. And more importantly, it's actually just being consistent. So if you say that, all right, I'm going to start with 2 sessions a week for a month, then just do 2 sessions a week for a month. And then when you get into that month, set a new one. Then maybe you'll do 2 to 3 sessions a week for 2 months. And then you'll get to a point where it's just becomes second nature, and then you're consistently going 3 times a week. Doing your fitness or doing some sort of sport or exercise 3 times a week. I think that's a good start. It's just to start small. The next one is to fuel your body with plants, protein, and water. So if it grows from the ground or comes from a plant, then that food is going to be really good for you. It's going to be have high nutrient value, and it's going to make you feel a lot better as well. You also want to have lean sources of protein as well, which can be vegetable proteins, or could be fish, chicken, some sort of beef. If it's been manufactured or man-made, there's a lot of stuff that goes into the food, and a lot of the good nutrients come out of the food, so it's just less nutrient dense. So the more you can stick to things that are organic or natural, organic being you've eaten it, you've taken it basically from the ground or a plant, and then you've cooked it yourself, rather than getting it from a box at a supermarket, and it's been all put together in some sort of factory. You're actually doing it all yourself. That's going to be better for you. And the third thing of that is water. Is make sure you're drinking lots of water, not getting dehydrated. 8 to 10 cups a day is really good, especially when you do start some extra activity where you're raising the amount of work or effort that you're doing in your sessions. Being dehydrated, that feeling of, if you ever had too much to drink the next day, being really dehydrated, you just can't perform. You don't even have to drink. If you just don't drink any water, your body's just not gonna be hydrated and be able to handle the actual workout routines that you want to do to get to your goals. One thing I actually do is supplement a lot of my nutrients with. It's a company called Activated Nutrients. It's plant-based energy powder. Because the reality is, I have a fairly good diet, but it's I'm not going to be able to get all the essential minerals and nutrients from all the foods that I like to eat. There is definitely some things that I like to eat, so I miss out on a lot. So I actually have a plant-based powder every morning from Activated Nutrients. I think it's called Plant-Based Energy Powder, Power Up, which is really good for males in the sort of 30s and 40s. Helps me give me a lot of natural energy that actually sort of lasts throughout the day. So you sort of don't need maybe like caffeine pick-me-ups to get through the day. It just sort of stays with you, and it's all natural. The third thing is getting consistent sleep. I actually feel this is actually probably almost the most important thing that you do. If you don't have really good consistent sleep, so not just getting enough hours of sleep, but having a really good sleep and awake cycle, or like a really good body clock where you fall asleep at the same time every day and wake up the same time every day, you're really just not going to give you a chance for your body to recover, because in the sleep, that's where your mind and your body actually repairs itself. And if you're not just getting enough each day, you actually start to go into sleep debt. If you've ever gone on a long haul flight, or you've stayed up partying really late, especially when you get into your 30s and 40s, it's just like for every hour that you miss, it's just banking up all this sleep debt where you have to try and catch up later, and you're probably never going to. So I've actually, I think, really dived into improving my sleep, and I think it's actually really helping a lot with my training and getting my body ready each day to train with more volume, because because I can handle the training that I'm currently at. I like to push it ever slightly a little bit more and have better performances. But even if you're just starting to get back to being fit in your 40s, improving your sleep is going to get you off to a good start. So there's a few things you can do, and some things that I like to do as well, that I actually feel it's beneficial. So the best thing is to just actually fall asleep and wake at the same time as much as you can. So just to naturally, when you feel tired, is just go, all right, that's time for bed, and do that for about a week. And then whenever you first wake up, just wake up and get out of bed. Don't try and sleep in and catch up another hour because you think you need to hit a certain time of sleep. And over time of that week, that you should naturally fall into maybe falling asleep at 9:30 every night and waking up at 5 a.m. every morning, and that's your sleep-wake cycle, where you're probably going to get that 7 hours of sleep. Some other things that you can do is have your last meal 2 to 3 hours before bed. If you eat right on when you go to bed, within half an hour, your stomach's still digesting, and it interrupts you falling into a sleep, and can actually interrupt your sleep patterns throughout that whole night. So try and have your last meal. If you know you generally sleep at 9:30 every night, then maybe your last meal has got to be around 6:37. Some other things that I can recommend is wearing blue light blocking glasses throughout the day, just to help stop with the digital eye strain that you get from all the screens. That can really sort of add up later in the day, where you're getting all this, blue light actually stimulates you and keeps your eyes wired. If you can start to dull that effect through the day, then when it comes to bedtime, you're going to be feeling like you want to sleep and don't have that sort of wide feeling in your eyes. Also on sunset, you can actually switch to more advanced blue light blocking glasses, such as blue and green light blocking glasses. So they have a bit of an orangey reddy tinged in the glass, and it really just takes out all that blue and green light. It's almost like looking through rose glasses. It can take a little bit of time to get used to, but I actually find it really has a nice feel on my eyes, and it actually starts to relax me as well when I've got the glasses on. And I usually try and put them on as soon as sunset happens. So when you go from that transition of light in the day, because you do actually want to have a bit of blue light coming in, because that's what keeps you awake and tells your body you're in the daytime. But then when you switch over and it gets dark and you're still having a lot of blue light into your eyes, it's keeping you up. But if you can start to tell your body that, no, we're switching into a bedtime routine, that can start to bring your body back down. Some other things that you can try is having some zinc magnesium, or ZMA, 30 minutes before bed. It's been a lot of research with the zinc and magnesium to help relax the body, get a lot of that restlessness out of your legs, especially if you're doing lots of exercise. You might be sweating a lot of that out, so just to replace some of those minerals, I think helps. Some other things to do is wear a sleep mask, so you really block out all the lights in your room, whether you've got like alarm clocks or little standby lights on appliances. All those little things actually emit more blue light, so if you can actually block all them out, have a really dark room, that's just telling your body you're ready for sleep. Doing no TV before bed, or having a TV in the bed and falling in bed to a TV, because that's pumping out more blue light towards you. It's going to keep you awake. So you need to start calming your body down. Turn off your phones before bed. Ideally is, at least half an hour before bed, longer the better. So you're not looking at screens, again, with blue light passing into your eyes, keeping you awake. You can implement some recovery strategies throughout the week, especially if you're doing a lot of training or you feel a bit stressed, to try and get some tension out of your muscles. That definitely helps relax you, and that could be things like mineral baths, hot and cold baths, saunas, jacuzzis, spas, massages, foam rolling, massage guns, anything where you have a bit of tension in a muscle. If you can relax those muscles, or do even some stretching's really good. Some really static stretching when you're cold. Actually, really good after you've done a workout too. Because your body is warmer, and it feels nicer to get into a deeper stretch when you've got a bit of blood pumping through the body. And when you can lengthen all those tissues again, that just makes your body feel good, so you feel good. So all those things will help you get consistent. Will help you fall asleep better, and then when you fall asleep better, you're going to get more consistent sleep, and when you get more consistent sleep, you're going to be able to recover better physically and mentally, and all that's proven by science. The next one is to train first thing in the morning, or schedule in training into your calendar. So if you're a busy person, you need to schedule your training in. One thing you can try is just try and get it done first thing. Get it done. Get it out of the day. Find a group class where you can wake up early, get your training done, and then you can get on with your day. I think when you try and leave training till later in the day, it's going to be on your mind, and you're probably going to be competing with other things, especially if you have a family. Usually nighttime, there's a lot of responsibilities, and then to try and fit in training then, it's probably going to be the hardest time. So if you can train first thing in the morning, you probably find your kids aren't awake yet, or your other partner is not awake yet as well, and you can get your training done, come back, eat your breakfast, start that morning routine with your family, and then you're off to work or whatever you're doing in your day. So sort of give training first thing a go, or schedule in your training. If you schedule it in, it's a non-negotiable, and then you can fit everything else around that as well. So the fifth thing is to try some group training. Group training is really good. You're going to meet other people who are like-minded, so you're going to have all social connections. I think if you're training on your own or with a personal trainer all the time, that might be a bit isolating. Your mind might start to wander as to why you're doing things. Whereas if you can find a group training class around your area, ideally if you live in Burleigh Heads, Electric Fitness, we cater to 30 to 40 year olds, so you're going to be training with people going through the same things as you, so there's going to be a lot of relatability there. Me as the coach, I'm in my 40s, so I've definitely been through all this in my 30s. If you're in your 30s right now, and if you're in your 40s, I know exactly what you're going through as well. I probably find our whys as to why we train it is probably not too dissimilar. So give group training a go. So the sixth thing is to embrace the pain. So you need to offset or think about what pain is worse. Is it the pain of training, or is it the consequences of the pain of not training? So what I mean by that is, obviously you're signing up to put your body through some workouts that are probably going to be you're going to have to go through some muscle soreness. You're going to have to get the heart rate up, and that can be can have a level of discomfort that you're not used to. But then you've got to weigh that up against the consequences of not doing any training, or not doing a training of a higher enough intensity, or have a mixture of strength and cardio in your training, where you're actually getting some benefits to be able to do the things that link back to your original why. Whether it's like doing more activities with your family and your kids, being able to move the way you want to move. So if that pain of training is like putting you off, you've got to weigh that up against what's the opposite. It's going to be the consequences of not getting in shape, and then you're going to be where you are, especially if you're feeling unhappy or depressed about where you are in life in terms of your fitness, and the flow-on effect that has to other areas of your life. If that pain suddenly is becoming too great, the pain of going to the training is actually nothing. It's actually going to be easier. So I actually find, like, through the training that I've done, through a CrossFit style program, is that once you get through those workouts, anything else that has happened to me in my life is actually not that bad, and is actually, I can handle it at all. Certain things in my life I won't be maybe happy with, or hasn't gone my way, or maybe had a really bad day, but I can always turn towards the training and the pain that I go through in the training as making me stronger mentally and physically better. So you will get sore in your training. You'll get DOMS, so delayed onset muscle soreness, and you've got to learn to train through that soreness. And you're going to have days where maybe you went too hard and you got really bad DOMS, but it does pass. You also, if you're not actually getting any muscle soreness, you need to start upping the intensity, either with the weights that you're lifting, or the effort that you're giving towards your training, where you're actually getting your heart rate up to a level where you're going to get yourself a little bit fitter. So yeah, when rebuilding your fitness, you're also rebuilding your mindset and starting better habits overall. So that's what you're really doing. So you're really getting into the practice of doing better habits. And so when you get in the practice of doing better daily habits with those 6 things that I've pointed out just then yeah, you're going to start achieving and getting to your goals as to what's your why, and then it just becomes basically second nature. So all this has like a positive, it's all a positive process, and it has a flow-on effect to all other areas of your life. So you probably find you're going to start having better relationships with your family, your friends, and potentially even your finances, because you're just on top of your game. You're as sharp as you can be at wherever you are in life, whether you're in your 30s, your 40s, or your 50s. You're at your best. You're giving it your best in the gym, and it's probably going to flow on to giving it your best in your relationships, trying your best in your work life, and probably become a really good role model to all the people around you, and probably be able to drag them into the gym as well. So to recap, number 1 is to start small. Number 2 is to fuel your body with plants, protein, and water. Number 3 is to sleep, get consistent sleep. 4 is to schedule in your training, or give training a go first thing in the morning. Number 5 is to give group training a go. Highly recommend that. Come into Electric Fitness and we'll get you sorted. The 6th thing is to embrace the pain that's going to come from physical exercise. And it's actually all in the mind as well. So even though your body's hurting, it's actually your mind is what will give up before your body does. All right, guys. So hope you really enjoyed that episode. Feel free to reach out to me personally if you'd like to get started in your 40s, or really at any age. But if you're in your 30s and 40s and live in the local area here in Burleigh Heads, please get in touch.